Barbie or Oppenheimer? While the world is busy in deciding which movie to watch first, me as a motion designer, I had my eyes on something else. No, not on that. I'm talking about the title animation of Oppenheimer. Now, if you have seen the trailer, it looks something like this. Of course, this is minimal and absolutely beautiful, but I wanted to recreate it and add some more elements to it. Now, whether it turned out good or not, I'll leave that up to you. And before we check the final results, let's see how I recreated the Oppenheimer title. So Oppenheimer is a movie about J. Robert Oppenheimer, who created the world's first atomic bomb. Now based upon the movie, I knew I had to create something that has fire elements, particles and smoke. Also, I was pretty sure about the color scheme as well. Now it was time to get everything together. So I jumped onto Pexels and started looking for some stock videos, and luckily I found many that would go with the theme of the animation, so I downloaded them. Now it was time for the animation. So I jumped into After Effects, and first we will begin by creating our text, and I know they are using Gotham font because I saw that in a reel on Instagram. Now after aligning the text, it was time to make it more cinematic, and for that I added some tracking to it to add little bit of spacing between the characters. Now we have our text. I wanted to start the animation with some fast-paced cuts, and for that I added a clip to the timeline and trimmed it to only last for a couple of frames. Added a little scaling animation to add some movement to it. Now we are done with our first clip. Let's add some more. So for the second one, I'm going to use this spiral one, which has these very nice sparks. So I added it and played around it for a bit to make something nice. But even after adding so many clips, something was missing. And I know exactly what. A dope soundtrack. So I head over to Artlist to get the perfect song. I also use some filters like Epic, Trailer. They have a huge library of songs, and I know the one I'm going to use is hiding somewhere. And when I heard this track, I knew he's the chosen one. So I downloaded it, dragged it to the timeline and just picked the best part which matches our animation. After that, added some clips on top of each other, played with some blending modes to get a really nice look. After the clips, I wanted to add some shots of atomic bomb, and unfortunately I don't have one. So I headed back to Pexels and searched for it, but for some reason it was showing me sharp bombs. So instead I searched for some metal structures, and I found a couple of these images which I thought nobody's gonna know if I zoomed in. So back in After Effects, I imported it to the timeline, added some zoom to it, added some spark overlays on top of it, and with a little bit of color grade to match it with the scene, we are done with this. To make this static image more interesting, I added some position animation to it, but still the picture animation was looking flat, and I know exactly what can fix that. A little bit of shake. Adding shake in After Effects is actually quite easy. Let me show you how. So first create a null object. Now add 2 copies of slider control effect on top of it. Now open position property of the null and add this expression. Wiggle, rounded braces start. Pick whip the first slider controller, then add a comma. Now pick whip the second slider controller and close the circular braces. Now select the layers on which you want to apply the shake. Just parent them to the null. Now add keyframe to the slider controller and animate their value from 0 to whatever you want. Let's say 20 and 50. After adding little bit of shake, now it was looking good. For the ending part, I wanted to have an explosive reveal with some fire and smoke, and for the background behind the text, I used the same clip which we used in the very beginning. Just played around with its timing to get a nice background. Now it was time to add the explosion, and for that I tried so many fire clips. I added them on top of the text as an overlay. I even added multiple layers and played with the color grade to make it look nice, but nothing was working out. It was too much cluttery and the text was not readable at all. After trying so many things, none of them were working, and I was finally starting to give up. But that's when I came across this clip. This was like the last hope. It was like the light at the end of the tunnel. It literally had everything. It was shiny, it was beautiful, and it was green. Now in order to use this, my first step was to get rid of this green color and turn it into orange or yellow. Now this is actually very easy. You can either use hue or saturation, or you can use this free plugin from Video Copilot called Color Vibrance. Just change the colors to whatever you want, and voila, you have your clip. At last I played with its timing and changed its blending mode. Now finally I got something that I liked. Now at the end I added the release date of the movie below the text with some simple cut animation. Even after adding everything, one major thing was missing. fire. So I decided to add the fire explosion before this final reveal. For that, I added multiple fire clips on top of each other. It was looking very empty. I added the metal structures which we downloaded from Pexels and just parented them with the null object to add this very nice shake. Now at last I did some color grading to blend everything. After that, I added some text in the beginning to give it a trailer sort of vibe, and finally our animation was done. So here is the final result. I'm pretty happy with the final results, and now it's your turn to decide. So you can mention in the comments below what do you think about it. And if you have come this far, then make sure to subscribe and like. Also, you can support me on Patreon. Link for that is in the description as well. So with that being said, my name is Abhishek and I'll see you in the next one.